And time for a talk of the town today here on AM 1390 KRFO. And we've got Ann Peterson coming by with the Orphanage Museum out at West Hills. And each year, a little different type of fundraiser. And that's going to be the case coming up this Saturday. And it's going to be all about kids.
Kids. It's called the Celebrate Youth event. We switched it up a little bit. We've had 3 years of an Lighting the Path event in the evening. And while it was very appropriate, very solemn, we thought we'd switch it up this year and do something that would involve children and families, because children were what made the state school what it is, for good and for ill. But we are having an event from 2 to 5 on Saturday, September 17th. And since it's a fundraiser, there is an entrance fee of $5 for an adult, $3 for school-age children, and then kids 5 and under are free. So once that fee is paid, you can go on a horse-drawn wagon ride around the campus. We have 5 actors who are going to be portraying different people who worked at the state school, and they're going to share information about what different locations, like at the school and the hospital and a girl's cottage. We're also having some entertainment, and by youth we have Izzy Melgard and Jazz Palmer, who are high school students here in Owatonna. They are going to be performing individually. They both play guitar. And then we are having our return harpist. Her name is Sheila Ramey, and she played down at the cemetery when we had our Lighting the Path down there. But she'll be doing some of the children's hymns and things like that. So we also will have face painting, children's activities. There are probably things that kids nowadays don't know how to do, but they were really big games that the kids like to play when they were at the state school, like jacks, the yo-yos, the jump ropes, the hopscotch, things like that. So we're going to have things for the kids to play outside. We're going to be out in front of the new art center entrance and across the lawn there.
Yeah, I never thought of that. Kids they don't play jacks or hopscotch anymore.
Right. I had to print out how to play jacks
Oh
to have instructions, just to make sure I even remembered. But so there'll be things like that the children can do. We're going to have a it's on paper, but like a scavenger hunt if they go inside the main museum. Got a scavenger hunt, and there's a sheet of paper, and they and their families can fill out, if they're looking for different things inside the museum. And because the main museum will be open, as well as Cottage 11 during that 2 to 5 period. We've got Cheryl Paquin's going to be there with her photo booth, so we'll do families can do some photos. We're going to have the tumblers from Pillsbury Gymnastics Academy. They're going to be performing, and actually tumbling was a really big deal at the state school in the winter. That was what they did in the gym. And we've got some video, or now it's a video, some film from the 1930s where the kids were doing their tumbling routines in front of the gymnasium.
Oh.
And they were so good, they would perform at halftime, sometimes at the Owatonna basketball games, and then they would, I think they even performed at the state fair. So it was, there's a tie in there with the gymnastics to see what they are doing. And then we're going to have opportunities for people to purchase raffle tickets. We have a 50-50 raffle that we are running until November 8th. For $25, you can enter. And as the pot grows, when we'd have the drawing, the person who wins would get half of what we raise. So that is another one of our fundraising elements. And we are also started to sell brick pavers down where the old school building used to be on State Street. Right now there's just the monument and one of our, Sylvan calls them a talking brick, but the audio stations down there on the east corner of the lawn, and we're selling those now for $100, and we've already had a few installed so people could come and see what they would look like. So that's another fundraising opportunity, but mostly it's going to be a lot of different face painting, different things that kids in a family would enjoy, but learn a little history along the way.
And I think, but don't cross your fingers, I think I last heard dry in 70, so
that would be so wonderful.
So it's not like it's like there's some things for the folks to do, but this is going to be really a big time for the kids.
I think so, yeah. And the parents, if they remember some of these games, then it would be just something for them to share. And if anybody does Pokemon, there are 6, I believe, stations up at the West Hills. So if you're up there doing that, or if you're up there for our event, you might pick up a few of those along the way too. Yeah. Our traffic has picked up the slow driving or the people walking through, so I guess that's good. But
Pokemon player steps on Jack player's finger.
Ouch!
No,
yeah.
Just kidding. Has it been a good tourist season this summer at the orphanage?
It has. Probably not as many big group tours, but we have had a lot of off the street traffic, people coming in now. School is closed, but and so families aren't taking vacations. But yesterday I saw 3 different groups of families or people coming through just because they'd heard about it. Some of them are staying in a hotel and then they read the Visit Owatonna guide and, oh my gosh, I didn't know this was here. And others, it was definitely a destination that's why they came to Owatonna. So it kind of works both ways. You either stumble on it or it's where you want to go. But it's been wonderful to meet a lot of different people this year from all different states. It's you never know every day.
I would guess your job, what the people give and tell you, is probably part of one of the perks.
Well, it is for me. It's wonderful. What I'm trying to do too is accumulate as many stories about the history of the children, how they remember. So when I'm having children or grandchildren come through, I say, well, would you please share get their information down, because we're collecting as many individual stories as we can.
Wouldn't it be neat, like if someone stopped in June and then come October, someone that comes in, you go, your brother was here in June.
Oh, my.
That
would be, I think that did happen to somebody at one of the state school reunions they had several years ago. I think a sister and a brother met for the first time in, decades.
Okay. All right. Talk a little bit about the walk-in crowd. You'd always like people coming for the first time. When can they walk in? Of course, they'll ask you, is there an admission? Do I need reservations? Just talk about
Okay. If the city offices are open during the week from 8 to 5, then the museum is open. So you come in through the administration door, and the museum starts just down the hall. And there is no admission charge if you're doing a self-guided tour. We have a map of the campus that is there, but there's a lot to read in the displays, a lot of information. Cottage 11 is open from 1 to 3 Tuesday through Sunday, but you can also access the main museum through the new art center entrance now on the weekend, and it's just a beautiful entrance. And selfishly, they have this wonderful elevator now. I had a group last week of 17 seniors from an assisted living place up in Eden Prairie. Well, 10 of them had walkers.
Well,
so they got in the building, but to go over to Cottage 11, then the elevator, we could go through where the kitchens used to be. I could talk about what the art center used to be, and down that wonderful elevator, and then over to Cottage 11. So It's, like I said, selfishly, it's wonderful for us.
We're talking to Ann Peterson, Orphanage Museum. Maybe just to recap again, Saturday, what's happening briefly, when, where, and how much are tickets?
Okay, we are having a fundraiser. It's called Celebrate Youth. We're going to focus on children, and we invite families to come. It is $5 for adults, $3 for students, and children 5 and under are free. We're going to have a lot of different activities for families, for children, coloring, just lots of different activities, and music. Some wonderful music by local musicians.
Mm-hmm. Anything else you'd like to mention about the celebration, or just plain simple about the museum folks should know?
Well, we are, I like to say, we're the only known orphanage museum in the country. It is a big deal, and Owatonna, I think, is very fortunate to have it in its midst. And if you haven't been up there, please come and visit us. It would be fun to have you come up on Saturday and get introduced that way, but anytime that you want to come up and visit, it is there for you to do.
If you have something so unique and you live so close, shame on you if you don't
No.
stop there at least once to check it out.
But it's worth the stop.
Okay. Ann Peterson, our guest today on Talk of the